Nothing says comfort food like cottage pie. Welcome back to the Crack Mug. That's what's on the menu today. A delicious cottage pie. Not a shepherd's pie, which is made of lamb, but this one is made of ground beef. It's absolutely delicious, especially this time of year. It's not a quick 30-minute meal for midweek, but it is something you make on a Saturday or a Sunday when you have a couple of hours and you're just lounging around the house. You can easily put this together and your home will smell absolutely incredible. Easy to do, step-by-step recipe, you'll see. But I think if you make this, you're going to love it. I'm dying to try it. It just came out of the oven and it smells amazing. So come on, let's get in that kitchen. Here we have 2 pounds of ground beef or minced meat. That's about 908 grams. 3 carrots chopped, 3 stalks of celery chopped. I have 2 large onions here, finely chopped. Here I have 5 tablespoons of flour. All-purpose flour is fine. I have mixed this with my own flour, which is this brown one you see here that's been roasted, but we'll talk about that in another video. 5 tablespoons of flour, 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 3 tablespoons of oil like canola. Here I have a glass of red wine, that's 250 milliliters, along with 450 milliliters of beef stock, salt and pepper, 2 bay leaves, about 4 to 6 sprigs of thyme. That is everything. Let's get started. Over medium-high heat, add 1 tablespoon of your oil to the pan. When it's hot, add your beef and begin to brown it. You may have to do this in batches. That took 2 batches. This pan's very hot and heavy. Clean out the excess fat there from the beef. Just throw in a paper towel and wipe it out. Over medium-high heat, add your remaining 2 tablespoons of oil to the pan. When it's hot, add your onions, the carrots, the celery. Stir them up to coat. We're going to let this simmer and stir occasionally for 15 minutes. It has been 17 minutes. The vegetables are nice and soft, so we're ready to move on. To this we're going to add our flour, quick stir, and our paste. Stir this for just 1 minute. Let's add our wine, medium heat, and we'll let this simmer for just 1 minute as well. Smells really good. Let's add our beef stock, Worcestershire sauce, 2 bay leaves, and our sprigs of thyme. Scrape the bottom of your pan because there's some good stuff down there. There's some fond. Clean the sides of your pot. More good stuff. Now we're going to add the meat and any juices. Stir to combine. We are going to bring this to a simmer and simmer this very gently for 45 minutes. However, after 30 minutes, we are going to check it. And we're going to check the sauce basically to see if it's too thick or too thin. And we'll go from there. So 30 minutes, and I'm going to partially cover it. That's good. While the meat has to simmer for about 30 to 45 minutes, I've gone ahead and I've sliced 3 pounds of russet potatoes, which I think is 1.3 kilograms. Russets are good, so the King Edwards, any potato you like to use for mashed potatoes. Once these are cooked, we'll come back and we'll move on with those. It has been 30 minutes. This is simmering away nicely. Actually, it's not too thick and it's not too thin. I'm very happy with the consistency here. If it was too thick, you could add a little bit more beef broth. If it was too thin and there was a lot of liquid, just turn up the heat a little bit so that can reduce. But no, we're going to leave it as it is for another 15 minutes, and then we're going to come back and add some salt and pepper and check the seasoning. Stir it every 5 minutes. When your potatoes are cooked, drain them and leave them sit in the pot to dry out for 10-15 minutes. The 15 minutes are up. It's a lovely thickness. Just going to taste it for salt and pepper. Wow, it has a lovely beefy flavor. It needs a little salt, maybe half a teaspoon, tops. But there. Now let's pick out our bay leaves and our thyme. They have done their job very well. So this is thick enough. The last step to do here, the heat is off, is completely optional. At home they have gravy granules, which adds a lot of color and some flavor to these meat dishes. Here we have a kitchen bouquet, which says browning and seasoning. It really has no seasoning as such, but it's really good at browning beef dishes. So I will add maybe about 3/4 of a teaspoon. It just makes it a little bit darker without changing the flavor. So now that I've added the salt and pepper, I'm going to taste this one last time. Nothing to do there. It's perfect. Going to let this sit with the lid off. It can cool a little bit while we make our mash for the top of it. Now is a good time to preheat your oven to 220 degrees Celsius, which is 425 degrees Fahrenheit. See how our spuds, our potatoes, dried out lovely in the last 15-20 minutes, still steaming hot, but dry around the edges, perfect for mashed potato. Now you can use a potato masher, you can use a pastry cutter, you can use a fork to mash your potatoes. I like to use a ricer because I think I can get the smoothest mash. All right, our potatoes have been riced, they're ready to go. We need to add some little fatty goodness to it right now. So here I have 200 milliliters of whole milk. You can use half and half a cream, it's entirely up to you. I have 200 grams of a sharp, strong cheese, and I'm using extra sharp white cheddar cheese. I have some butter here, 25 grams, and on this plate, I'm starting with 1/2 teaspoon of salt and maybe 1/4 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. And I have 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. To our milk, let's put our butter and our seasoning. Give it a little stir. We're gonna pop this in the microwave for about a minute until the butter's melted and the milk is very warm. All right, that is hot. Yeah, our butter's melted. Just gonna pour this over our potatoes. I don't like actually adding cold things to our warm potatoes. Now we're just gonna fold that in. Try not to overwork it. I don't like starchy potatoes. They should be nice and fluffy, clean, not overmixed, overwhipped. Now I'm going to take about 2/3 of this cheese and pop it in here. Try to grate your own cheese. One, it's cheaper. Two, it's better because that pre-grated stuff has just a horrible chemical sprayed on it so that it doesn't stick together, the packaging. So, no thanks. Mix that in, fold it over, get everything from the bottom. It smells lovely. My oven is ready, it's preheated. All right, I need to check this again for seasoning. We'll check with 2 forks. Lovely. Okay. So, it does need about another 1/4 to a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which doesn't surprise me. And I'll add a little bit more black pepper. All right, let's fold that in. I think we're good. Perfect, just where we want to be. Assembly time, after I clean up my mess. I'm using a 9x13 casserole dish, a lasagna dish. Use whatever you have. That will accommodate all this meat. Doesn't matter if you have too much meat, we can make some little ones to go with it. I'm kind of hoping we have too much. Actually, God, it smells so good. That is accommodating that beautifully. I just wanted to have a little left over so I can make a little one on the side. Perfect for going to work with me tomorrow. And I do. Let's get the rest of that in here. And then we are set. All right, time to get our mash on top of this. We're going to start in the edge and go all the way around the side. It's good that it's stuck to the edge first and then we can build our way into the center. I often use a spatula. I like the size of it. Don't pick up too much, and then put it right in there and up against the edge. And just continue doing that all the way down the side. Can't forget him. You can spread it out with a knife if you want, but I'm just going to spread it across with a fork. I feel like it keeps it lighter. I want to make sure there are no holes. If they are, we can just patch them up right now. And now I'm onto the back of the fork, just to smooth it out a little bit, right out to the edge. We're almost there. Just going to use my knife here, just to make it a little smoother and really seal it up around the edge. You can put a pattern on top of this if you want. You can use a knife, a fork, anything you want. But go for it, have a little fun. Be creative. But thing is, I am going to throw some lovely cheese on top of this in a moment. There we go. And finally, we are going to just sprinkle lightly the remainder of our cheese across the top. There, I'm happy with that. So I like to pop this on top of a baking tray or cookie sheet just to catch any drips. And look, my little one will just fit in there. I'll keep it to the front of the oven because I'm going to be whipping that out sooner than the large one. It's going to go in for 25 to 30 minutes until it's bubbling all over around the edges and the top is lovely golden brown. Piping hot, very hot. And here's my little guy. He's looking cute. This has to sit here for about 20 minutes to cool before we can cut it and try it. All right, let's try some. First of all, run a knife around the very edge here so that your cheesy mashed potato top does not stick to it. Oh, I think that much. The top is crunchy, and now it's going to come out as a mess, but that's okay. Never mind. Whoa. Oh, look at that goodness. Look at all that meaty goodness. It smells incredible. All right. Look at that. We have to try this. All right, I'm just going to dig in. I want to try those cheesy mashed potatoes first because I love potato. You can taste that cheddar cheese. It's lovely. And they're light and fluffy. Not too overworked so they become pasty, which is horrible, by the way. All right, a little bit of both. Oh my goodness, it's really good. I'm really hungry. Full of flavor, the meatiness is there. And there's a gorgeous sweetness that has come out of the onions and the carrots because we let that simmer on the stove for 45 minutes before going into the oven for another 30-35 minutes. So it has had time to get really mellow. So I added some peas to the side because I like peas, shepherd's pie. Okay, I want to scarf this down, but I won't, sorry. I am missing my HP sauce, which I love. Completely out of it. This is a delicious, comforting meal. There's enough in that casserole to feed 6, if not 8 people. So it's also very economical. A little bit of patience and you end up with just something that is going to be simply divine. So I do hope you make it. Every home when I was growing up had a version of shepherd's pie. And when I moved to England, it was the very same way. So I kept this one as traditional as possible. I have played around with the recipe and made some interesting creations, but that's for another day. Right now, I think if you make this recipe, you're truly going to love it. So thanks again for all your support. I really appreciate it. And until next time, see you soon. Bye.